What's going on, ladies and gents? So today we have two radios. We have unmodified radio from the factory and we have a modified radio, and we are going to be doing different sound modes and find out for ourselves and see directly which sound mode sounds best, most pleasant. So you might want to stick around for this one. So guys, before we proceed any further, quick announcement. I ordered BGA 427 LNA, if you watch my previous video, and the supporting components. So once that arrives, I have here version 2. I'm not going to throw it out. I'm going to install it into this radio. And on this radio I have a version 2.1 with audio preamp. And we're going to install the LNA onto one of these radios and compare this LNA without LNA. And if it's good, I'm going to install LNA into a second radio. And I know I told you that I'm not going to do this version of the mod, version 2.5, with a RF amplifier right here. But one of the subscribers reached out to me and he is buying a radio, buying this mod and supporting components and sending it to me. So once it arrives, I'm going to do this version of installation instructions for this version of the mod, and instructions are going to be long, like from the beginning to the end. Nothing I won't be skipping anything. Just gonna do it one straight job, obviously without cutting the board and all that bullshit. Supporting components. What supporting components? I told them to get low ESR high frequency choke, because this choke we know sucks. It actually overheats when you transmit on your radio. I told them to get, just in case, 20 centimeter long pigtail, just in case this one is short. And I told them to get proper length SMA connector, because this one looks too long. This one looks like a 22.5 millimeter connector. Also, it could be too short if it's pictured wrong here. I told them to get the proper length, 18.5 millimeter. So once that arrives to him, he's gonna send it to me, and I guess by that time we already gonna have radios with LNA, and we are going to compare to this version. So subscribe, because that stuff is coming to this channel. So I have this mod installed on this radio. Let me show you the mod. The site is 4pda.2. It's a forum. UV-K5 Quansheng. If you type this UV-K5 and 4pda, you're gonna find this page. But basically this is the mod that I have installed on my radio. I replace here stock capacitor with 1 nanofarad capacitor, and I replaced here stock capacitor with 1 UF capacitor. So let's hear it, guys. First of all, let me take off all the filters from my microphone. Filters are off. Let me make sure the volume is on top. What I want to show you first, basically I'm going to open up the squelch. Guys, the volume right now is at the minimum. Volume on this radio does not go any lower. Minimum volume, maximum volume. And this is stock radio. No mods have been done to this radio. Let's do the same thing. This minimum volume, radio is on. Minimum. I cannot hear it, you cannot hear it. I'm gonna raise the volume all the way up. And it's gonna stand right here where this one was. Can you hear me, guys? So what's happening here is the stack radio is a lot louder than this modified radio, and that is because, guys, I've been explained, because of this capacitor. This value that they specify, 1 nanofarad, is too damn large. There is feedback going back through this capacitor, and the amplifier just doesn't function correctly. Let's hear some broadcast radio. Let me go here to SI. Some talk radio, maximum volume. And same thing on this radio.
Выше предыдущего рекорда, который был установлен более века назад, в 1918 году. И вернемся в Астану. В эти минуты Владимир Путин начинает переговоры с лидером КНР Си Цзиньпином.
Basically, even though this the stock one is much louder, this one sounds better. The stock one has all the ups, right, too high and just sounds annoying. This one has the mids and the upper frequencies are cut off, and that's why it's more pleasant to hear. So let's go under microscope and let me show you the mode. And tell you what we're going to do about it. Tell you what we're going to try next. So this right here is the mod that I did. Let me give it a big picture. Here basically we have a 1 nanofarad capacitor. I removed the stack capacitor and installed 1 nanofarad right here. And here I removed the stack capacitor and installed 1 UF capacitor right here. Let's go in closer. And this capacitor right here is causing our volume problems, or so I've been told. Check out my tweezers, guys. My tweezers need to be replaced, which I'm going to do right now. Much better. So here I have about capacitors, and I'm going to replace this capacitor with 300 picofarad and then 200 picofarad. Let me take correct capacitor. Easier said than done. So 6.8 nanofarad is 300 picofarad, 100 nanofarad, 100 picofarad is 180 picofarad. So I don't have a 200 picofarad, I only have 180. And this is 22 nanofarad. So let me use one of these capacitors, and let me take off this capacitor right here. And replace it. So this is 1 nanofarad, and I want to replace it with 300 picofarads, and then we compare what's happening. Then we compare the results. Son of a bitch. Stack capacitor used to be over here. So let me grab a 300 picofarad capacitor. The size I'm using is 0805. The size on the board is 0605, I think, but 0805 is a little bit larger and a little bit easier to work with. That's why I'm using it. So this is 0805. And by the way, let me just see how this size is going to work for the LNA. So if you have LNA here, couple of capacitors, yeah, it's gonna work just fine and it's easy to work with. So 0805 for LNA is perfect size. Let's clean up a little bit. So this is fine. Let's come back and see how this sucker sounds. So I haven't fired up yet. We are going to hear this thing for the first time right now with you. Volume is maximum. I want to open up the squelch. this minimum volume, and the stack radio still has a little bit more volume. Let's hear some broadcast radio.
Самое большое количество пользователей у нас заведены в систему. Сейчас у нас в системе работают и все ресурсоснабжающие организации, и нацпарк, и Укрбор Черноморья.
Вскоре в Сочи заработает еще одна электронная платформа по подсчету туристов. Это улучшит контроль за тем, как проходят туристические сезоны, и сделает более эффективным.
Как бережно, да?
Белорусского фронта. С юго-востока в город вступил первый гвардейский танковый корпус генерала Панова. Вслед за этим танковым корпусом к окрестностям Минска подошла третья армия генерала Горбатова. К исходу дня Минск был полностью очищен от врага. Основная группа соединений 4-й армии немецких войск оказалась отрезанной от пути отхода и зажатой в кольце восточной.
What do you guys think? I kinda like it. This was what? This was a 300 picofarad capacitor. I'm gonna keep a note right here on this piece of paper. 300 PF, I like that. 300 PF. I kinda like that. So I'm gonna keep a note of this value, but right now we're gonna come back and install different value, guys. The only thing I don't like about this setup, right? 300 PF capacitor, the minimum volume is not 0. That's the only thing. So let's go under Microsoft and carefully remove this capacitor. Can be carefully removed. Oh, flew me. Let me go off camera and find it. Yeah, I was able to locate it and we did not damage it too much, so this could be used again. The reason I'm saving this capacitor, guys, I don't know if I'm gonna like this mode or not, but basically whatever I like right now I'm gonna do on the second radio. And these capacitors were sourced locally. It's kind of pain to locate them. You can order them on the internet, but they're not cheap because you have to order usually like 100 pieces or 50 pieces minimum, right? And pay shipping for each of the kind capacitors. So this was 300 picofarad. Right here I have 180 picofarad. Let me take it out of the packaging. So we got our 180 picofarad capacitor right here. Yep. Let's install it. Capacitor. And let's test it, guys. Let's test it right now, right here. I gotta be careful with display. It's expensive. How about some radio?
Сообщает РБК Спорт. Согласно сведениям источников, в ходе закрытых дискуссий была обозначена необходимость ряда реформ.
Россия и Китай последовательно реализовывают план развития экономического сотрудничества до 2030 года. Об этом заявил президент России Владимир Путин на встрече с председателем КНР Си Цзиньпином на полях саммита Шанхайской организации сотрудничества. Российско-китайское взаимодействие в мировых делах выступает одним из главных стабилизирующих факторов на международной арене, отметил Владимир Путин. В свою очередь, председатель КНР Си Цзиньпин заявил о необходимости в условиях непростой международной ситуации прилагать усилия по сохранению основных норм международных отношений. Отношения между Россией и Турцией развиваются поступательно, несмотря на все сложности текущего момента в мире.
As far as volume, I like 180 picofarad the best so far. It's excellent. In fact, I'm gonna write it down. If 300 picofarad is like 4 out of 5, right? 4 out of 5. 180 picofarad is like 5 out of 5, guys. UV-K5. Let me put the stack value in there and see what it sounds with the stack value. Because what I don't like about this is that minimum volume I cannot tone it down all the way down. So let me put the stack value in there. And the stack value is what? That's a good question. We have a schematics over here. So 180 kilo ohm resistor, and under microscope we had what? It's 184, right? So this is a 180 kilo ohm resistor. This one right here. Stack is 100 picofarads. So let me put a 100 picofarad capacitor. Let me take this one off and put a 100 picofarad capacitor. Let's not lose this 180 picofarad capacitor and let us return it back to its nest. And let's put aside, and let me grab here 100 picofarad capacitor. Oh, nice. It fell out right where it needs to be. So let me do this left-handed. Like this is good, guys, and let's immediately go to testing. Let me show you what I'm dealing with here. I don't want to buy another display. I already replaced my display. So Let's hear the static. This is the minimum volume.
Самоходной артиллерийской установки МСТ-С по очередному Абрамсу. По сообщению Минобороны, танк стоял где-то на Авдеевском направлении. Судя по видео, у лесополосы. Причем внешних повреждений.
I don't like it. Sounds kinda like stuck. It's annoying, guys. It's on top. All the volume is on top. Got highs and it sucks. So, what's next? I do not like that situation with minimum volume. So here we have the stock value is 22 nanofarads. Let's double check it. Yeah, it's 22. It says 22 right here. So let's replace that capacitor that I have there, the other one, with a 22 nanofarad capacitor. I'm talking about this capacitor, this big one with a 22 nanofarad capacitor. Let me grab a 22 nanofarad right away. And let's remove this one. I lifted the trace, which sucks. So stock 22 nanofarad capacitor, let's install it. Well, I mean, not stack. A little bit bigger than the stack. Yeah, that should do it. So let's test it. At this point the radio is stuck, so I expect it to behave like a stuck radio. It's going to behave like a stuck radio. Let's find out. I mean, it should. I'm still having issues with minimal volume. So why is that? I'm not sure. I have nothing else done to the radio, so why would I have issues with minimal volume? I'm not sure. Unless it is the firmware, right? Yeah, guys, I think the problem with minimal volume is the firmware. I have Foxy Reborn, and I think it's louder because right now it's the radio is in stuck state with the sound, right? And I have problem with minimal volume, and the maximum volume, as you just heard, is actually louder than the stack radio. So let me keep this capacitor at 22 nanofarads, the one that we did. and change this capacitor. My OBS crashed. Let's get back on track. So I'm going to keep this stuck. No, I'm going to keep this one stuck. Is it stuck? Yeah, it is stuck. So I'm going to keep this one stuck, and this one I'm going to change back to 180 picofarads. Let's do it. This one is going to remain stuck. I'm gonna have to secure it with something because the spot has lifted. And this one I'm going to change back to 180 picofarads. Solder iron is coming up. And this one was what? I forgot, because I want to return it to its nest. It was one hundred picofarad. Yeah, I got 100 picofarad right here. Let's take 180 and stick it in this 180. So on the other radio I'm going to use 180 picofarads because I like how it sounds. Sticky, man. I think we're good here. So I want to hear how this sounds, and I'm going to continue because we have one more capacitor that we can change. Let's get broadcast.
Вашингтону в долгосрочной перспективе нужно что-то предпринимать. Лучше сделать это раньше, чем позже. Ситуацию в нашем эфире прокомментировал финансист, член Президиума Совета по внешней и оборонной политике Александр Лосев.
Действительно, глава ФРС Джером Пауэлл подтвердил, что администрация Байдена идет на чрезмерный риск, создавая очень большой дефицит, в то время, когда экономика имеет полную занятость.
So we have one more capacitor to change. Let's come back and change it. Check out this mode. It says we put a stack. We just put a stack capacitor over here. It says yeah, we put a 22 nanofarad capacitor back, but it says to change it to 100 nanofarad, which we had before, and I took it off. I had it over there, and over here there is a 15 nanofarad capacitor. We're gonna put the 6.8 nanofarad. So let's go on the microscope. Let's locate this capacitor that we're going to replace. So they're talking about, yeah, they're talking about this capacitor. Yep. This is a 15 nanofarad that we're going to replace with a 22 nanofarad. Let's take this off. Oh, this ground is taking a lot of heat, man. I'm gonna have to turn on the heat on my solder iron. 410. 410 should do it. Oh man, this is horrible. How about we go maximum? Well, not maximum, like 450. Now it's moving. Yeah, I don't want to lose this capacitor, so let me save it right over here on this ground. Let me get the temperature back down to 390. And let me make it straight. like this is perfect. So we want to replace it with 6.8, and I got a 6.8 peak of nanofarads right here. Let me take out one of them. There you go. 6.8 nanofarads, and there's some bitch, man. Oh, I need more heat on my solder iron. The ground is really heavy. I'm going all the way to 480. That should do it. So let's inspect. I don't really like this mess. Guess we can clean it up. That. And let's test it, guys. Let me put my solder iron back to 390 and turn it off, and let us test the results. We got right now is a minimum volume. I cannot hear shit, guys. This is excellent. Maximum, minimum, maximum. Yeah, I did not touch. You saw it. I did not touch that son of a bitch capacitor when I did the original mod. So I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Guys, I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna go to the store, get some cigarettes, relax a little bit, and come back and finish up with you. So guys, I'm back. Check this out. Maximum and minimum. Minimum is that. sound volume is the same, and let's listen to some broadcast. -61. Anyway, it's deep enough. I got the mids, I got the lows, I don't have the tops, and I like it the way it is. I did some things off camera. Let me show you what I did. Basically, let's see, guys. So right here we have two capacitors, but it could be one capacitor. We have a 300 picofarad at the bottom, 180 picofarad at the top, which makes it 480 picofarads. Basically, that's a correct value for this one. 480, 500, maybe 400 picofarads. Right here we have let me check. Right here we have a 100 nanofarad capacitor, 100 nanofarad, and over here we have a 6.8 nanofarad capacitor. So if you look at pictures on the internet, basically we did it like this, right? We have 100 nanofarad here, 6.8 here, but the sound wasn't deep enough, so we changed this capacitor to 480 nanofarads. And the way it is right now, I like it. So let me come back. I'm gonna assemble it off camera, clean it, assemble it, and then we're gonna come back and modify this one from scratch. So let's do a quick comparison. Modified. Keep in mind, SI amplifies this preamp, so at the very top is going to be too much for a speaker, so I'm modulating. But this one, this stock radio, all the way up. Basically, if I could describe it, this one sounds like an annoying girl, and this one is more mature and deeper voice and pleasant to hear. The way I had it all the way in the beginning, it was even deeper, less mids, no highs, and a lot of lows, and not a lot of sound. The sound, it was okay, but in comparison to this one, it sucked. But the way I have it right now, I like it. So let's open up the squelch all the way up. Stock radio. modify. Annoying. Okay, so let's do another mode on this brand new radio from beginning to the end without much words. I take the clip off so that I could rest display on the battery, and the button, when it is glued, it is glued. It's hard to take off the first time around. I'm looking at display, is it coming off? Because sometimes it gets stuck. And this is a brand new radio. Yeah, display is coming off. Anyway, there is a cure for accidentally breaking your display when you take it off. I use T7000 applied on this side, where you have a plastic piece pushing down from this side, when you have 2.5mm ear pad, and over here on this side. Let it dry and then assemble, and it works excellent. But most of you guys don't take your radio apart as often as I do, so you probably don't need this tip. So we take the display off. Careful, son of a bitch. Go back, go back, go back. Oh shit. I wouldn't want to kill this display, guys. And it still works excellent. What happened here? Yeah, so I rest this display on the battery and place something soft on the battery so that you don't scratch the display like this. Let's see. And let's go over quickly of what I'm going to do right now under microscope. You see all this flux? This is not my flux, guys. This flux is from the factory. So what I am going to do is take off this capacitor. I'm not gonna throw it out, I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna take off this capacitor. I'm going to replace this capacitor and this capacitor. This capacitor, this one right here, I'm going to replace with 480 picofarads. Guys, 480, that number comes because I have a 300 picofarad capacitor and a 180 picofarad capacitor. I combine them in parallel, I get 480, and it sounds good for me. But the value, I guess 400 is gonna be good, 500 is gonna be good, 450 is going to be good. So keep that in mind. But I'm using 480. And we are going to take off and replace this capacitor. This one over here, we're gonna take this off and replace it with 100 nanofarad capacitor. And we are going to take off this capacitor and replace it with, let me look it up, 6.8 nanofarad capacitor. But before I do that, before I do anything, guys, you see all this shit, right? The shiny shit, this flux, this factory flux. I'm going to mask the display with my hand, and I'm going to watch this flux, guys, because I'm gonna hit things now and it's gonna make a mess. Yeah, I'm gonna do it like 3 times. Like that should be good. And what do we have here? I think this called a snout, guys. Like the thing that comes out of your nose. So it's some kind of factory defect. So we're gonna take it off. I have it off on the other radio. Yep. And over here we are all good. So let me first take off these capacitors. Guys, I'm not going to mess with solder iron. You see me do things with solder iron enough to know how to do it with solder iron. Gonna give it 390 degrees. With a heat gun. And first thing I wanna do is save these capacitors, this one and And this one. By safe, I mean I'm gonna solder them to some ground right here. I'm not gonna throw them out. And we're gonna set them right over here. That's a good location. So I'm 390 degrees right now. I'm going to walk away from the display. Let's do it. I mean, my air is not blown on display. That is fine. And let me get my capacitors. This is 6.8. This is what? This is 180. 180 I got right over here. Let me get it. And not lose it. This is a 180. And that's not it. 300 picofarad. This is 180 picofarad. This is 300 picofarad right here. Let me get it out. Again, guys, I'm using two capacitors in parallel because I don't have proper capacitor like 480 or 500, but you don't have to use two capacitors, just use one capacitor, 480, 400, 450, 500 picofarad, whatever. Careful. That's good. Let me check continuity here. Yeah, it is soldered. Looks good. Let me still check continuity just in case. Excellent. So over here I install a 100 nanofarad capacitor over here. Let me grab a 100 nanofarad. 100 nanofarad, I got it right here. Let me get it out. So I'm like 260 right now, it's climbing. $350. Let me check continuity. This side is good. This side is good. Good. So we have one more capacitor left. Right over here. I would like to save this capacitor and install 6.8 picofarad capacitor in its place. So let me get out my 6.8 picofarad capacitor. Let me see where I'm gonna put it this time. I'm still gonna put it right over here. And this one I'm going to save over here. So my air is coming up. It was on auto off, and once it hits 350, right now I'm ready to go. let me lower melting point on this thing. As you can see, the son of a bitch has a heavy ground. It's taking all the heat. Now it's free. I'm gonna stick it right over here. I like this, is gonna be perfect. So let me check continuity. This should hit this. Good. This should hit this. Excellent. Let's review our job. This thing is hot, man. So we installed the 6.8 picofarad capacitor. We saved the original 15 nanofarad capacitor. We saved the original, what is it? 100 nanofarad, no, 22 nanofarad. The original is 22 nanofarad. We save it over here, and we install 100 nanofarad capacitor. From over here, we save the original. The original was, let me see here, what was it? The original was 100 picofarad. So we saved the 100 picofarad capacitor, and we installed 480 picofarad capacitor. That is the mod, guys. So what's next? Cleanup, guys, and assembly. Let me inspect the LCD cable while it's cooling off, because I think we pulled it. Oh man, it looks good. And you see why we pulled it. You see how fucked up it comes from the factory. It's not straight, you see it? Yeah, when you install your LCD cable, you want it to be like 3/4 ways down here. and straight. We pulled it because there is not enough slack for the LCD cable. That's why we pulled it during disassembly. It's okay. So it cooled off more or less. Display works. I don't have speaker attached. It's okay. So while I'm here, there is a screw underneath display, which I'm gonna take off and not put back, because we don't need it. And let me put back the display. You know what, guys? This is no bueno. This video just got longer because I want to put it back and I don't have any slack in the cable. It's not good. This there is a possibility to kill this display basically. So I'm going to take it off and put it back on. But not to complicate things, let me do it off camera, guys. Or let me do it right here. Why should I do it off camera, right? So I got my blade and I want 410 degrees on the blade, and I want flux everywhere. Let me go on the microscope. I want a tiny little blob of solder on my blade. And just a little bit. This even too much. Let me not push things and carefully take it off. There you go. So let me clean the parts. Excellent. And let me clean the area from flux. Like a couple of times. So it's nice and clean. And I'm gonna come back with a non-active flux, guys, because underneath the LCD cable I'm not going to clean anything. And if I don't clean it, it has a possibility of rusting and shit. So I don't want that. So this non-active flux is a mechanic MCN-UV-10. Let me change my blade. Solder iron is coming up, is the smallest tip that I have. Sit right there. Let me grab a piece of solder on my tip and let me align this thing. So I want like this, more or less. Let me take this side. Wow, more solder, please. Like this. Let me take it somewhere over here. Straight, yeah. Good. Good, 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 good. Let me rest this display on my battery and go over everything. Add more flags and go over everything. And let me carefully mask my display with my hand and clean this side. That's it. So now, supposedly, I could reassemble this thing without damaging the display. We got enough slack. Yep, everything looks fine. Let me do this side. Good. Nice and tight. So the problem wasn't slack, guys. Not enough slack in LCD, and when you try to remove or reinstall display, it just goes not according to plan. Yeah, man. Degreaser. Looks clean, and the glass is clean. So solder iron is on. Some flux is contacts. And before I put it together, let's hear it. So it works, I can assemble it. My solder iron is still on. And this modified radio, as you just heard, it's more sensitive. I think they sound the same. Yeah guys, so we did the mod. Obviously SI is more sensitive than the stack one, so there's some static over there. So guys, this is it for the sound modification. Everyone does this mod differently, and I followed someone else's instructions, and the results I liked until I got a brand new radio and I compared it with the old radio, and I realized that there is not enough sound. So at this point I'm happy with this sound mod. I'm going to include part list in description and also pictures with mod in the description. Okay guys, if you like this video, press like. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe and press the bell button, and it's free guys. I'm gonna see you next one. Okay.